Now, the Muslims, as you've laid it out, don't seem to be very united.
No.
But the West doesn't seem to be very united either in confronting this Islamic terror.
The only way we in the West are going to win is if we believe in our own culture. Europe, as a result of World War I and World War II, says, oh my God, we created and invented amazing things, but all it did was bring upon us death and destruction. Look at the unbelievable quantity of human beings and property that were killed and destroyed. The goal of the American administration is that there's nothing special. The American exceptionalism, the greatness of what is American culture is gone. We're all citizens of the world and all equal. You have a right to do whatever you want, your way, however you feel, and I do. Well, it doesn't work that way. We must believe in our culture, in the greatness of Western civilization. Europe doesn't, which is why it's collapsing. And the whole Brexit thing, there's now hope for Britain because they at least believe in nationalism. The greatness of nationalism is not a bad thing. That's what Israel is all about. People believing themselves, in the greatness of their culture. America has an amazing culture, an amazing history. It's a real light to the nations for the entire world. And the American administration has done everything it could to, shall we say, overcome that. And that is dangerous.
With the conflict in the Middle East creating millions of Muslim refugees in Syria, in Libya, in Yemen, why are they all trying to get to, or most of them trying to get to Europe and not trying to get to, say, places that are more stable like Saudi Arabia, or Oman, or Bahrain, where they have the same culture, the same language, the same religion?
Well, it's interesting that the Saudis, the Bahrainis, the Qataris, all of these people in the Gulf won't take any of the refugees, number one. They don't give them anything. Europe gives refugees absolutely everything. Come, you'll live off of us, we'll pay for this, we'll pay for that. You can do nothing. But I would argue there's another thing. A significant portion of these refugees are not women and children. They're young males, let's say of the high testosterone age, and they're imbued with the spirit of making Europe, which is part of the world of war, the Dar al-Harb, into the Dar al-Islam, into the world of Islam. And Erdogan, the president, the dictator of Turkey, he is the one who is encouraging these people to get to Europe because the day of reckoning, where the Muslims will take over Europe, becomes closer. And it's a win-win situation. What do I mean? If he allows the refugees to go, more refugees go there. On the other hand, what were his demands? He wants visa-free travel of all Turks to Europe. Well, that's 75, 80 million people. Believe me, you can get better jobs and better government support there. So if the refugees don't go, then Turks will go. They're not Turks from his point of view. First and foremost, what matters is that they are Muslims, and we're bringing the day of reckoning closer. The Muslims were stopped twice in advancement in Europe. They got to Vienna twice. The second time, the last time, was 1683. And they were stopped in Spain at the Pyrenees Mountains going into what is today France. Now the Muslims are taking the airplane around Vienna and they're skipping Spain, and they are basically, it is just the resumption of the Islamic attempt to Islamify Europe and the rest of the world eventually.
The American president, Teddy Roosevelt, famously said, speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yes.
America had a presence for decades. It seems to have lost, for lack of a better word, the fear that it instilled in countries that you don't poke the bear. How will it get that back, or can it get it back?
Yes, it can get it back. It's fear and respect. There was an awful lot of awe of America. I think you could summarize, again, to quote Professor Bernard Lewis, Yankee, go home and take me with you. to get fear and respect back, let's put it this way. It's almost like a parent dealing with teenage children. If a parent decides, I don't want to have an argument, I don't want to fight, I'm going to pick my battles and all that, the kid sees that he can get away with things, so he pushes the envelope. But a parent at one point can lose his patience. I've had enough, and you're going to do things X, Y, and Z. You're going to do it the way I say. I promise you that a lot of countries, and I know this from behind the scenes, from world leaders that don't say this publicly, they want America to have the role that it used to have. They want America to lead because we need order. Otherwise, we have chaos. And since the Obama administration has taken over, the world is in unbelievable chaos, and it's getting worse and worse. It's not just Europe. Look at the violence in the United States. Look at, for example, what is going on in Asia. There is a lot of unrest. We, the world, need the greatness of American power. We need American leadership. You know, American is not imperialist because no imperialist ever had an exit strategy. We go in to clean things up, and how do we get out? Imperialists went there to stay, to exploit the population maybe or the resources. We don't do that. We went into Iraq, and what happened? Everybody said, yeah, we went there for the oil. You know, who's got all the oil contracts? Not the Americans. The Chinese have got a lot, and a few others do, but not the Americans. What is wrong with these stories? We're not imperialists, not in the slightest. We're a great country, a great nation, and God willing, we will have a change of leadership in the next American elections, and we will resume our natural role that so much of the world wants, to be the great leaders that we can be.
You have decades of experience in analyzing and looking at the landscape of the Middle East particularly, but the world in general.
Thank you.
And in your analysis, I must tell you, does not sound very promising. Is there any hope for the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely there's hope for the future. Because, you know, Johan, let's say I start to hit you. I hit you on the shoulder, and you look at me, you're saying, Harold, you're crazy. What are you doing this for? You don't say it actually, but you look. I see, I'm the Muslim world in this case here, or I'm the terrorists, more specifically. And I see you as weak because you didn't respond. Well, Yochanan, I'm going to hit you again now because I'm going to hit you harder. And now you're even more upset, but you don't do anything. You just think I'm nuts. The third time, or whenever, we don't know how many times. At one point, Yochanan, you're just going to get mad and you're going to be angry, and God help me. America has enormous power, enormous abilities. America can make this happen. America is being provoked by the forces of evil in this world, and those forces are radical Islamic terrorism. And if America wanted, it could eradicate, and that is the right choice of word, eradicate this. We are at war with Islamic civilization, not the religion of Islam. And unless we stand up, it's going to be terrible. But America has within it enormous patience. And then God helped the other side. If I could quote Yamamoto, the great Japanese general who had a lot of experience growing up in the United States, he strongly opposed the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And he led the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Why did he oppose it? Because he said, I fear that we will awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with terrible rage. Maybe for a half year or something like that, we can get along. But afterwards, we produce 80,000 tons of steel a year, and we're at capacity. America produces 800,000 tons of steel a year and is nowhere near capacity. We're finished. It's over. That's what Yamamoto said. That can happen here too.
Dr. Harold Rode, American specialist on the Middle East and analyst for the Pentagon for some 28 years. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Wonderful being here, Yochanan. Thank you.